Hey everybody, Coach Michael here. So glad to be here and really excited for another broadcast here on Mondays with Michael, Coach Michael here on Mondays. So hope you guys had a good weekend and hope your week is starting off well. So we're going to be talking about some emails. I got a couple emails I'm going to go through, and I also am going to talk a little bit about one of my favorite sleep terms that I think really helps when you can start to incorporate it in how you talk about your own sleep. If anyone, of course, is here and they come on live and they want to ask a question, feel free to put it in the chat box there. And so I will go ahead. I'm going to start off talking about my favorite sleep term, one of my favorite sleep terms. And the term is the word allow. Allow is one of those words that implies a just complete lack of effort, absence of effort. I guess an opposite term would be like force or make or something like that. In fact, what a lot of people say about their sleep is that they need to get their sleep. So getting your sleep kind of implies you're not allowing it, you're actively making it happen. So I really like that word allow. And I was reading something just recently, and that word kind of kept popping into my mind as I was reading it. And I think it helps when people when they use that term, when they talk about their sleep, kind of embed it and sort of mix it in if you're talking about your sleep or anything, you allow your sleep to happen. You allow yourself to sleep. You don't make it happen. You can't. And the more you try, the more elusive it gets, as everybody knows. So that term really just kind of resonates with me a lot. I use it a lot. I correct people sometimes, probably too much. They'll talk about their sleep and they'll say, yeah, so I was trying to get this sleep. I was trying to fall. And I kind of pause and I say, you were allowing yourself to get sleepy. You are allowing yourself to fall asleep. Doesn't mean you will, but it's sort of like it's like the definition of with the gas brake model. It is it's the absence of a brake. You are allowing the gas to drive your sleepiness. You're not hindering it in any way. You're not trying to force anything. So I like that word, allow. I try to use it a lot when I'm talking with clients about their sleep, and I try to encourage them to use it themselves, because I think it kind of helps when you just get things in your kind of your lexicon, your words that you're using when you're talking about your own sleep. I did pull up, actually, where is it? There we are. Pulled up a definition of it: to fail to restrain or prevent. So that is the absence of the brake in the gas brake model. So allowing or failing to restrain yourself or prevent yourself from sleeping is really what you want to be, how you want to think about your sleep. So it acknowledges that it's completely passive and can't be forced in any way. Okay, let's see. Let's check here. Kevin here has chatted here, and he's asking about Daniel. Yes, he will be on tomorrow. So probably tomorrow and Wednesday as well. So any questions, you can email Daniel@thesleepcoachschool.com, and he'll get right back to you. So let's jump into the emails that I have for today, and we will pull those up here. Okay. And got it. Okay. First email is, we're going to go up here to B. Hello, I've been following your channel for a few weeks. This gives me hope that someday I too can overcome my insomnia. I too have the natural ability to fall asleep. I'm 27 now and have been struggling with insomnia since 17 years of age. I have been on and off sleep medications all these years. Presently, my insomnia has deteriorated as I work from home since the last 6 months, and I don't feel much active, motivated, and fit as I used to be around people at my workplace. I go completely sleepless when I'm anxious. I receive little sleep in the daytime. to compensate for the night. I am a psychosocial counselor, so I understand CBTi well. I want to commit to CBTi for a few months, as I hear in the success stories. Currently, I am taking olanzapine, 2.5 milligrams prescribed by my doctor to help with anxiety and sleep. I know medicines are not a permanent cure, so I want to take a bolder step, thus try CBTi. I want to share my sleep diary on a weekly basis with you, which makes me feel much more determined to commit to my CBTi. Initially, I would want to try CBTi along with my olanzapine and slowly withdraw it after I gain some confidence with CBTi. I also listen to sleep hypnosis every night before bed at 11 p.m., hoping this would influence my subconscious mind to sleep better. If let's see, I go to bed about 11 to 11:30 and get out of bed at 6:30. P.S. I receive no sleep when I do not take olanzapine. Eagerly awaiting for your response. Okay, so let's see. So B, good questions. Want to chat about your situation here. First of all, as we always say, nothing here is medical advice. It's all just general guidelines, suggestions, and our impressions of different emails from people. So I want to comment on your email. When you're talking about CBTi, yes, there's a lot of evidence that it's helpful. And the thing with CBTi is you want to make sure that it's kind of like it's like this overall general kind of framework for sleep. And it's just a simple way to acknowledge the natural sleep drive that builds when you're awake. And also it acknowledges that the sleeping, your environment can kind of impact how you feel if it's constantly repeated or associated with anxiety and alertness and all that. So CBTi is kind of like a framework. It's just a general overall framework. But when it really comes to insomnia, it's changing your thinking that ultimately makes insomnia a thing of the past. So I think that your idea of going into it, and I think you said you were a counselor, so you probably have a pretty good understanding of it. I can't comment on the medication, although I can just in general, medication is something that can erode a lot of confidence in sleep. So you want to make sure that you have it in context like that. Medication does not put people to sleep. They generally have side effects and things that you always want to ask your doctor about. And but when it comes to insomnia, they typically erode confidence in sleep, which then tends to perpetuate insomnia. So I think when I see some sleep efforts in here. Listen to sleep hypnosis every night before bed. Not really a problem per se, but it's all about the intent. Is listening to sleep hypnosis every night for the intent that it's going to put you to sleep? Or is it just because you kind of enjoy it? Just enjoying it is one thing, but to use it for the purpose of this will make me sleep, that's a slippery slope. That's something that's an effort. It's going to fail. So you want to make sure it's in context when you're using it. Other things that I notice in your email, I think that I think there it is. You've struggled with it for 10 years, so you're 27 now, and I've been on and off sleep medication all these years. So that's kind of a red flag that you've been trying a lot of things. So efforts don't work when it comes to sleep. Sleep happens when you are completely not affected by whether you're awake or asleep at night. I often use the term indifferent. Coach Daniel likes to use the phrase befriending wakefulness at night. They're kind of the same thing in a sense, that you don't react to being awake at night. And that's where you want to work yourself towards. You want to be in the position to understand, and through education, you will understand that being awake at night is not harmful in any way. So when you have this strong desire to sleep, it just drives the insomnia, because the desire to sleep is what builds the anxiety. Okay. So it's kind of, you want to make sure that you don't have this huge anxiety about not sleeping, about, well, all these things are going to happen to me, and all these kinds of things that if you look at objectively, they're just not true. So you want to make sure that you're allowing sleep. There's that word I used in the start. You're allowing sleep to happen, and that you're being careful about sleep efforts. So, and sometimes CBTi itself can become a sleep effort if you're really strict with your sleep window and the other components of CBTi. That in and of itself can become a sleep effort. In fact, when we're talking about CBTi, I want to talk about just for a second the idea of a sleep window. I think I was communicating with Coach Daniel this week over the weekend about this term sleep window, and it's always kind of like a lot of people who do CBTi and they work with sleep patients with insomnia, they don't like the term sleep window, and so I usually refer to it as a sleep opportunity window, and it implies that you aren't forcing anything because you can't. So you give yourself an opportunity. It's your window of opportunity. It doesn't mean you will sleep during that time, because the phrase sleep window can kind of imply that a little bit, and it can get really strict. I'm actually also kind of along those lines. I'm more of I like the idea of sleep compression a little bit more than sleep kind of restriction. So in other words, your sleep window, the start of your sleep window, is kind of like the set it and forget it. You just choose a number, just a little more than you think you sleep, and then you just leave it alone. So that set it and forget it idea really works well with the sleep opportunity window. So you want to just be careful. I say this just to finish up with your email, B, about CBTi becoming an effort. You just want to be careful with it. You want to make sure that you're not seeing it as a strict thing to make your insomnia go away. Insomnia goes away when you have no reaction to being awake at night. I guess you can't react if you're asleep. You're asleep. But if you are awake at night, there's no negative reaction. Enjoy the time. You've heard us talk about that before. And enjoy the time at night. Have the timeless night. That's a big one. People get really focused on that sometimes. Also, just a little side note with CBTi, when people start doing CBTi, they get really focused on that the person that's helping them, their coach or doctor, whoever it is going to want to know. They're going to want to know when I was awake. They're going to want to know how long I was awake. And that really is it. That can backfire really fast. So that hyper focus on time at night is something that I encourage you to not adopt in any way. So anyways, those are some comments about your email. And so just take a slow, steady approach when it comes to your medication. Of course, you're going to want to ask your doctor about that, the best tapering. But in general, you don't want to be taper off medications in any kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Any kind of way that's dependent on something. So it's not contingent, I guess the word I was looking for. You set up a regimen with your doctor about tapering medication, and you stick to it, and it's independent of how your sleep is. That's usually the best approach when it comes to medications for sleep and tapering off them. So let us know how you're doing, and we'll definitely look forward to hearing more from you for sure. Let's jump back to here and see if we have a chat message here. Let me go. Jiggy Fun. I worked third shift for 5 years to deal with insomnia. Yeah. Wow. So I guess you're saying that you couldn't sleep, and so you worked that since you figured you were awake anyways, I think is what you're saying. So yeah, that's pretty extreme, but it'd be interesting to hear more about what you did and kind of what led to that specifically. But for 5 years, yeah, it's a long time. Shift work is hard. A little quick comment on shift work. It just, it's not natural at all. And it really can it can make life really rough. I worked nights for a number of years, and so I have firsthand knowledge of that. And it's just a battle. It's really a battle. Your brain is not set up to function clearly like that, like all night long. Your thinking changes at night, and it's the light issues and all these kinds of things that happen at night, and your body is not designed for that. So hopefully you can. Great to see you get off nights, work on your sleep with through this channel and the Sleep Coach School, and maybe that can lead to daytime work if that's a better situation for you. Okay, so let's go to our other email that we have for today, and let's see here. Let's go to. There we go. Okay, this is. Okay, this is a screenshot here. Hey, Daniel, this is from Lucci. I'm going through this weird thing at the moment. I have the most vivid dreams I've ever had now for about a week. I will put my head down on the pillow, go to sleep, but as soon as I do sleep, I will automatically start dreaming very vivid dreams, and they'll wake up within like 30 minutes to an hour. I will feel like I slept through the whole night. I have been taking 75 Seroquel, bumped up without my psychiatrist knowing. I'm not sure if I have SFI, that's spontaneous fatal insomnia, or if you have ever heard of this, but I'm worried. Can you make a video or tell me in the topic of sleeping in bouts of 30 minutes to an hour because of vivid dreams, possibly due to anxiety? They keep waking me up. I might also add that I won't really get deep sleep. It'll just go straight to dreaming. Please reassure me I'm not going crazy. A part of me thinks it could be the Seroquel causing the vivid dreams. But yeah, I hope it's all just anxiety and not SFI. I kind of got over this fear, but it's back now due to this weird sleep thing that I have going on. But anything helps. I'm only 17 anyways. Oh, also, after I wake up, I'll get tired and go back to sleep, but the cycle continues. Okay, Lucci, thank you. Really interesting experience that you're having. I want to talk first about about dreams. Okay, so when it comes to dreams, it's in REM sleep. REM sleep is the type of sleep where dreams occur most of the time. Most reports, I think, would probably say about 90 to 95% of all your dreams happen during this REM sleep. You go in and out of it during the night. Well, the more sleep deprived that somebody is, the more quickly the brain goes into REM. That when the dreams occur. So the experience of falling asleep and dreaming early on, or right away or very quickly, can be a result of sleep deprivation, of just not having enough sleep. So it's in a sort of a similar vein. It's kind of like what people talk about hypnic jerks a lot. The hypnic jerks. They happen when you're kind of like falling asleep. And you fall asleep for a few minutes, and then your body kind of convulses. You kind of jerk a bit, or your legs do. That's a sign that you're sleeping. And our good buddy Martin Reed has talked about that. As you look at that as a positive, that means you are sleeping. Well, with the dreams, it's kind of like that in a sense, because it means that you are sleeping. You don't. It's extremely rare to see in a clinical setting the brain goes straight into REM, like literally right into REM. That's usually someone with narcolepsy, where there is no other types of sleep. It's just like wake, boom, straight to REM. But early REM onset, like your brain goes into it like maybe, well before the sort of the hour and a half is the kind of the classic, duration before you go into REM. But if it goes into before that, it can definitely be a sign of sleep deprivation. So look at it kind of like the hypnic jerks is sort of like, it's a positive in a sense. It's like your brain is sleeping. So in REM, it has that secondary component of being kind of a weird lightish state of sleep where, you have mentation, you're thinking about something. So sometimes like the content can wake you up. Or if you do wake up, you become aware really quickly that you're now awake. So these kinds of things are sort of associated with REM, but I think if you keep working on your sleep, I think that, they should subside. Clearly, if you think there's something else like sleep apnea going on, ask your doctor. That's always the place to start when you feel like you've tried working on your sleep, doing things that you feel like should help and you're not getting anywhere, ask your doctor, of course, especially with your medication. And I'm not sure about the association with Seroquel and dreams. But ask your doctor, clearly ask your doctor about those kinds of things. But I would just like to say that, is it SFI? There's even your doctor can't tell you if it's SFI or not. And, if all I can say with that is listen to Coach Daniel's interview with Casper about a week or so ago, who lost his mother through with SFI. 22 reported cases in the world ever. Gives you the idea of how rare it is, but listen to his story and you'll understand that the kinds of things that go along with it are very different. They're not insomnia. It's not an insomnia thing, even though it has insomnia in the name. If you listen to a story and read about it, it's different. It's a neurodegenerative kind of condition with all kinds of really tragic consequences. But it's not insomnia like, everyone's insomnia, like the typical kind of insomnia. So I'm reassuring you about, the rarity of it. And I'm reassuring you about what you're experiencing is, would be normal in certain situations with extreme sleep deprivation. So that's where I can reassure you. Listen to the podcast with Coach Daniel talking to Casper about SFI. I think you'll really learn a lot. That's kind of my go-to now, is that interview, because it was just so thorough and so clear, and Casper just really lays it all out. So you can find it on this channel, that interview. And okay, hang in there. You'll be fine. You just, set it and forget it. Do the usual stuff and learn that being awake is not harmful in any way. And dreams can be funny because it's like you're thinking, your mind is active, and they can be very odd. And there's all kinds of weird things that go along with the dream physiology that's normally there. Some muscle paralysis and other kinds of things that are normal. That's completely normal for dream sleep, but it can be really, really upsetting and confusing when someone is pretty sleep deprived and then they're going into REM kind of quickly, and being very aware of their dreaming. So I would just leave you with that, and learn about sleep. I think just that's where it comes to education. I was trying to teach you a little bit about REM sleep, but you can learn more. And I think that would be a really good thing for you to do. And let us know how you're doing. And definitely thank you for the email. And please keep us posted on things. Okay. Jiggy Fun says, "You're right, Coach Michael." For once, I'm right. Jiggy was talking about working the third shift for a few years to deal with insomnia. And I was guessing it's like, well, it's because you just assumed you were awake, so you might as well be productive during that time. But a lot of people kind of like nights, it sounds like for you, it's not necessarily that you liked nights. You just maybe found yourself awake at night a lot. But there's a peacefulness, to working kind of the late shift. It's really, everyone's kind of different on that. And you just have to find what works best for you. So thank you, Jiggy Fun. We have, let's see, a message here from Omar. "If I keep my sleep window the same for months, will my sleep eventually get more deep? My sleep window is 7.5 hours. I'd say I sleep 7 hours at the moment." Okay. So will it get more deep? Depth of sleep is kind of interesting. It's clearly, depth of sleep is it's just a perception, right? It's a perception. The one consistent thing that tends to deepen sleep is being active during the day. And it's not a surprise. I've talked before about this. Sleep and wake are kind of a yin yang relationship. They're dualistic. So the more active you are during the day, mentally and physically, the deeper your sleep tends to be that night. And then if you have deeper sleep at night, more restorative, all those kinds of things, then you're more likely to be active during the day. So that's the yin yang, that it plays off each other, right? The day and night. So will it get more deep? It might. There's no way for me to know. Sounds like you have a reasonable sleep opportunity window. And you're guessing you're sleeping 7 hours. It sounds like you're not struggling. And I think, I don't know there's no way to really know if it will get more sleep, but I do know that activity during the day tends to deepen sleep at night. So sounds like you're doing great, Omar. Thanks for checking in with us here. So that's pretty much it. We might just have kind of a short one today. I'll keep an eye on the messages here coming through. If anyone has another message you'd like to type in, I'd be happy to answer it. But I just want to go back to what I started with, and that it's that word allow. Allow. It's like it's just such a powerful word when it comes to sleep, because it just says so much. It is what you do with your sleep. You can't force it. You can't make it happen. You can't get your sleep. It's almost like get your sleep is sort of like, well, sleep's over there, so I'm just going to go get it and then I'll have it. And it doesn't work that way. It's about the only thing in life that's really like that. So using the word allow when you're talking about your sleep, I've seen it really help a lot of clients. It becomes like not a thing that you're in control of. And I really think this is kind of getting big picture here with insomnia, but like that losing control, once every 24 hours with sleep, it kind of has sort of like almost bigger implications. And you have to learn to work with that, because that's reality. That is reality. Sleep happens when you are not willfully trying to sleep. So if you allow it to happen, it can help you with that experience of all mammals, of at least all humans for sure, that you lose control, you let go, you are not controlling this in any way. And it happens. Sleep happens. You don't make it happen. So you allow it to happen. Just really like that word. Just want to kind of share it with you guys today. Let's see. Okay. That's about it. I'm trying to think. I've got my little notes here. See if there's anything else I was going to maybe talk about. I think that's about it. I want to mention, of course, how could I forget, that our self-coaching, the master program, is available on the sleepcoachschool.com website. And a couple people have joined into that, which is fantastic. We're super excited about that. So Coach Daniel and I are really, really into it. We really want everyone to succeed, and we will, do everything we can to clarify, to guide, to coach. And that's really our passion. That's really what we feel like is the way to help as many people as possible with their sleep, is to kind of take on that coaching role. So check it out at thesleepcoachschool.com. There's even a little free course you can take to kind of get a taste for it all. No obligation, nothing. And even the master program, if you sign up for it, it's a membership program, so there's a monthly fee. If you decide, that it's just not working out, let us know. We'll, full refund. It's kind of like we want to make this as just as easy as possible for people to get involved with. So I think it's really going to be a powerful thing and help a lot of people. Let's see. We have a message here from Jessica. What's the best way to handle sleep anxiety, which causes trouble sleeping, and especially the resulting anxiety throughout the day, the vicious cycle? Oh, yes, absolutely, Jessica. I think you and millions of others, that is such a concern. It's the experience of chronic insomnia. Best way to handle sleep anxiety. Anxiety is kind of like, I call it the kryptonite of sleep. That's my term for it. If you're anxious about something, sleep is going to be as elusive as ever. So you change your thinking. You start with education, and that's where the Sleep Coach School is here to help you with that. You change your thinking. Also, kind of do a little detective work during the daytime. Like, how is it really affecting your daytime, other than just like making you feel a little more down, a little bit negative, maybe a little less patient, these kinds of things, these temporary changes during the day. But is it make sure you don't think that it's affecting your day, like your performance during the day, because it won't. But the resulting anxiety throughout the day, yes, it just, anxiety just eats at you. It just wears you down physically, mentally. I completely get it. So you have to turn the tables on anxiety. Okay, anxiety is the biggest brake in the gas brake model. So learning about sleep and learning how being awake at night can be a peaceful time. You can do something you like, do something creative, watch something, read something, but understanding that it's not harming you, so that during the day you can try as best you can. I think I talked about this last week. One of the best things you can do when you get up in the morning is to forget how your night went. And I think that would be helpful. But the way that you forget how your night went is to focus on other things, right? You can't not think about something. You have to think about something else. And so during the day, live healthfully. Good sleep is usually, kind of goes right along with it. So with living healthfully. So, you don't obsess over it, but just find things to do other than thinking about your sleep. So during the day, maybe join a group or do a hobby or do something, go for a walk, and all these kinds of things can just get your mind off things. And you might find that you start to get more involved in something, and then that occupies more of your thinking, and then anxiety tends to subside. When we are short on sleep, it changes your thinking. Just being short on sleep. You take a good sleeper and you say, okay, you're gonna stay awake all night. We're gonna keep you awake all night and all the next day. So during the next day, their thinking would be different. That person's thinking changes. They can become a little bit anxious. They can become more impulsive. These kinds of things are temporary changes. So that's where education comes in. Understanding it, first things first, you understand it, then you can kind of work on how you're thinking about your sleep in other ways to reduce sleep-related anxiety and ultimately make sleep easier at night, less elusive, and that should help you during the daytime. Okay, we have another question here. Thanks for your questions, guys. Navinder. Hey, what is your opinion on taking measures to reduce overall amygdala activity, not with the intention for better sleep, but with the intention of making it weaker to reduce anxiety? Making it weaker. I've never heard of that before. For those of you not familiar, amygdala is a little part of your brain that is kind of thought to be like something's called the fear center, the emotional center. I think it's in the limbic system, which is kind of the bigger part of your brain that deals with emotions and things like that. But it tends to be the place that is active when the brain is like in a hyper state where it's like, fight or flight. It's like something's wrong. We have to it's like the alarms are all going off. The amygdala is like really is really prominent there. So to make it weaker, I don't know how to actually make it weaker, but reducing anxiety can be done with whether or not you're measuring the output of your amygdala, I guess is what I would say. So, learning about sleep, as far as you're talking about not with the intention of better sleep, that's kind of what we talk about here, but just reducing anxiety in general, better sleep tends to help reduce anxiety in general. So I don't really have a specific response to that specific question of how to weaken the amygdala or reduce overall activity. Anyways, so hope I don't think I dodged that question. I just don't have a real strong answer on that. Here's a question. I know cardio exercise is a good one. Anything else? Ask your doctor. Ask your doctor. We all have kind of our own medical history. So you want to make sure that you're doing something that's safe for you. There's, of course, cardio. That just means you're moving. If you're doing cardio exercise, you're using your muscles, you're moving around. That's fantastic. But also don't dismiss the other side of being active during the day, which is kind of like mental social activity. Having a real conversation with someone, learning something, reading, watching a show about something where it's kind of like you're using your mind. So those things during the day promote better sleep at night. It's not like a sleep hygiene thing. It's just living healthfully. It's just kind of common sense. For one thing, it it, helps you not think about sleep, which I think one of the best things you can do for your sleep is not think about it during the day. So be active, get involved. Really try to work on that, because that is actually something you can work on. You allow sleep to happen, but you can get involved with other things during the day to make yourself live a more active life. Let's see. Navinder, I think the University of Harvard research paper suggests that cardio exercise over time can physically shrink the amygdala. There you go. Perfect example about the sleep coach school, how the coaches learn from the students. I should look that up. Sounds interesting. I don't know much about it, but I'll look it up. That's where you got the idea from. Yeah. Okay, never mind. No worries. You don't have an answer. Thanks for the help. Sorry about that, Navinder. Yeah, maybe shoot us an email if you find some interesting things on that. But yeah, the amygdala is kind of that brain part that's sort of associated with like, worry or like fear and that kind of stuff. So at night, that can really become active. And then you lose like the prefrontal cortex side of things. I'm kind of getting off the track here, but your brain changes. That's just bottom line. Your brain changes, and it does that normally and naturally with being awake for long stretches of time. So, instead of fighting it, like tap into, for example, the creative nature of your brain at night when it's awake. I'm a strong believer in that. Honestly, full disclosure, one of the simplest things that I have ever suggested to a client over the years is coloring books. It is, in my mind, it's just like, if you're looking for something to do, like you don't want to watch Netflix, you've seen everything, and reading, you're sort of like, I don't know. If you want to change a pace, color. It's just like, it just lends, that activity is completely non-judgmental. It lends itself well to the creative nature of the mind that's been awake for a long time. So, and it's easy, right? It's like you don't have to mix paints. You're not getting involved in a bunch of different things. You just maybe get some colored pencils or crayons or something, grab a book and just do it. And just, I don't know, it's not putting you to sleep. Always, always, always. Nothing is an effort here. It's a way to spend time in an enjoyable way that kind of might, for some people, I've been told this directly by these people, it was just an easy thing to do at night that they kind of enjoy. And that's a big part of it, is enjoying what you're doing when you're awake at night, as a way to help start to befriend wakefulness during the night, which is a big, big step in overcoming insomnia. Okay, well, thanks for those messages. Thanks, Navinder. And I think we'll just end it there. So so check out the Sleep Coach School. We have the master self-coaching program up and running, and check out Coach Daniel's broadcast tomorrow. I'm not sure what he's going to be talking about, but he will obviously bring you something very insightful. So definitely check that out. We'll be together on Friday for our Friday joint broadcast that we do, and I'll be back a week from today. I think that's it. You can always email me if you'd like at it's michael@thesleepcoachschool.com. Any questions that you'd like us to address, it's questions@thesleepcoachschool.com. And I will sign off. You guys have a great week. All right. Stay safe, and we'll catch you later. Thanks. Bye-bye.